I lost in Truth or Dare, and Julian's dream girl, Victoria, asked me to drink mango juice, saying she wanted to see what an allergic reaction looked like. I looked at him pleadingly, but he mocked me as he handed me a glass of mango juice. Stop being dramatic. You bet you pay up. You owe this to Victoria. My whole body was covered in red rashes, and my breathing was weak. He covered Victoria's eyes the entire time. Don't look, it's dirty. When the beer bottle pointed at me, everyone around me looked on with gloating expressions. Victoria's eyes curved into a smile. It's Dare's turn this time. Just drink mango juice. I just want to see what an allergic reaction looks like. My face turned deathly pale in an instant. Victoria pinched Julian's cheek. Hey Julian, you're not going to chicken out, are you? I looked at Julian pleadingly. He knows I'm severely allergic to mangoes. He wouldn't do this. But he smiled mockingly, took the mango juice from the waiter, and handed it to me himself. I stared at him blankly, in disbelief. Is he really going to kill me just to make Victoria happy? Seeing that I wasn't taking it after so long, people around me said speechlessly, Audrey, you're no fun. You're the one who insisted on playing just now, and now you're trying to back out. I'm telling you, Julian, you can't have a girlfriend who acts like this. I clenched my teeth tightly, tears welling up in my eyes. Julian, I'm very allergic. I could die. Julian's eyes softened slightly, and just as he was about to say something, Victoria immediately mocked. Julian, your girlfriend is such a green TB*TCH. Her eyes were malicious, as if saying that listening to me would make him a brainless fool. Julian's eyes returned to their coldness. He scoffed and personally walked up to me with the mango juice. He almost forgot. I was always good at feigning pity to gain sympathy. Are you going to drink it yourself, or am I going to force it down? My pupils shrank in disbelief. The man I had spent my entire youth loving, in that instant, transformed into a demon, asking me if I wanted to die myself or be killed by him. He shoved the juice into my hand, impatiently saying, Stop being dramatic. You bet you pay up. You owe this to Victoria. I staggered, my heart twisting in pain. So he's been blaming me all along. I spent 3 years healing him, only for him to believe that I was the source of all his troubles. A sharp pain shot through my heart. I picked up the mango juice and drank it all in one gulp. Our former sweetness was over. Julian, if I survive this, I never want to see you again. In less than 5 minutes, my entire body was covered in red rashes. You're your neck. Victoria screamed in fright, shrinking into Julian's arms. Seeing me foaming at the mouth and barely breathing, Julian covered her eyes. Don't look, it's dirty. I lay on the ground convulsing, and everyone panicked. Even the ambulance was called by a waiter. I tried my best to look up, hoping to see a hint of regret in Julian's eyes. But even as I went into shock, I didn't see him move even an inch. Julian hates me more than I thought. It was vividly displayed at this moment. But just recently, we were celebrating our anniversary. He made a wish over the candles, saying he hoped that, like always, I would be with him every year. And now, to make his dream girl happy, he's willing to let me die. I really wanted to ask him why. Clearly, I was the one who had been with him for the past 3 years while he was getting treatment. Clearly, he had also said he loved me. Why did he completely turn on me the moment Victoria returned? Intense unwillingness flooded my chest. I desperately clawed at my throat, trying to induce vomiting. Finally, I threw up some of it. I heard the sound of the ambulance and passed out with relief. When I woke up, I found Julian slumped by the bed. His brow was furrowed, and his eyes were bruised, as if he had been beaten. I reached out to smooth his brow. Suddenly, the phone next to him lit up. It was a message from Victoria to Julian. Julian, I didn't know you were such a good fighter. So manly. Oh. I just didn't expect Miles to be so protective of that green TB*TCH. Good thing my Julian is discerning. I love you most, darling. Taking care of the green tea must be hard. Remember to take care of yourself too. Just a warning. Taking care of her is fine, but don't you dare develop any feelings for her. As my brother, you can't let yourself be played by a green TB*TCH. I withdrew my hand, staring blankly at the screen. The name on the contact, Plan A, flashed on and off, piercing me deeply. Victoria was always his Plan A, Well, I was just a choice he had to make after weighing the pros and cons. He even hated me. Hated that my appearance had disrupted his plan to secretly love Victoria. Seen enough? Julian turned off the screen and looked at me coldly. Your friend broke the rules. Remember to have Miles apologize to Victoria later. Miles was my childhood friend and also the CEO of my company. I had been forced into an allergic shock by him. And the first thing I was told upon waking up was to have my best friend apologize to his mistress. I laughed. Tears streamed down my cheeks. The unwillingness in my heart suddenly dissipated. He didn't love me. It was all an act for the past 3 years. The answer was right in front of me. What was there to ask? Seeing me laugh and cry at the same time, Julian scoffed and turned to leave. He hated me looking like this the most. Before it would be filled with heartache, but now it was filled with disgust. Just as he was about to walk out the door, I called out to him. Wait. He turned around mockingly. What is it? He wasn't surprised that I would try to make him stay. Ever since Victoria came back, I had been begging him not to leave. If he didn't agree, I would cry and make a scene, threatening to kill myself. At first, he would endure and compromise, but later he got annoyed and simply let me do what I wanted, with no emotion in his eyes. I knew he stopped this time because he felt guilty about my allergic reaction. And that's why he would listen to me finish what I had to say. Just when his patience was about to run out, I said calmly, Julian, let's break up. Julian frowned, not understanding what I was doing now. He knew I wouldn't joke about breaking up, or rather, he didn't believe I would break up so easily. After all, I had already proposed to him. I had laid my heart bare to him, letting him know that even when he was sick, there was still someone who loved him deeply, but it seemed he had misunderstood. He flaunted this sincere heart everywhere, saying what if he was sick, Audrey was still fawning over him, so he was sure I wouldn't break up with him. But he wouldn't allow me to threaten him with breaking up either. You've been making a fuss ever since Victoria came back, and now you bring up breaking up at the slightest thing, Audrey. Have I been too lenient with you? This time too, we were having a good time at the class reunion, but you insisted on coming along. It's your own fault that things turned out this way. His eyes held no warmth. Audrey, you better not test my patience. Get Miles to apologize to her as soon as possible. Victoria has suffered a lot, and I absolutely won't allow her to suffer even a little bit. For the first time, I knew that heartbreak to the extreme could really make you want to throw up. I forcibly suppressed the churning in my stomach and looked at the sparkling engagement ring on the bedside table, probably because they were told the ring was important to the patient. The nurse had placed it in the most conspicuous place. I reached out and threw it away casually. The ring fell into the trash can with a crisp sound. Just like my 3 years of ineffective companionship, it only made a noise and didn't cause any waves. Now you can be openly with Victoria. Trash goes with a trash can, a perfect match. Julian's face darkened, his eyes gloomy. Audrey, you better not regret this. Just as he walked out the door, my voice rang out again. Miles did nothing wrong, he doesn't need to apologize. If you cause him any more trouble, Julian, I think you can't afford my revenge. His footsteps paused. Then he slammed the door shut. That back view even had a hint of being ashamed into anger. As soon as the door closed, I felt like all my strength had been drained. I lay on the bed, not even wanting to open my eyes. The current Julian is not the same person as the one in school. 3 years of sincerity can't compare to Chung Yu's return to the country. The promises of growing old together, the promises of never separating, have now all turned into bubbles. Now I believe it. Julian really is a cold-blooded animal. I was exhausted both physically and mentally, burying myself in the quilt, tears streaming down my face. For the last time, I won't be sad for him anymore. Miles didn't ask anything when he came, just glanced at the trash can and clicked his tongue. That's my sister, got some guts. I smiled bitterly and didn't speak. Miles is only 1 day older than me, and has always treated me like a younger sister. During the time I was with Julian, he scolded me a lot in his role as an older brother. Did you see those 2 panda eyes of his? He proudly put his hands on his hips. Your brother gave him those, awesome, right? I nodded, my eyes swollen from crying. Yes, you're the most awesome. It would be even more awesome if we ignored the gauze on his face. Miles exploded. Hey, what do you mean by that? I'm letting him know. Yes, letting him know. Miles wagged his tail. Listen to me, I was so fierce at the time. Miles's jokes made me feel a little better. After a simple meal, I asked Miles to terminate the cooperation with the right corporation. The best way to get revenge for heartbreak is to make him lose money. Miles clutched his chest and retreated. Spendthrift, do you know how much we'll have to pay in penalties? I wiped my mouth lightly. Giving the project to the Hamiltons will earn it back in a week. Besides, the Wrights are losing even more. Miles thought about it and agreed. The Hamiltons were his favorite company for the project from the beginning. If it weren't for my love-struck brain insisting on giving it to the Wrights, we might have already become overnight millionaires. The nanny video called, saying Julian wanted to throw away things from the warehouse, asking if I knew about it. The warehouse was full of gifts he bought for me. Before, I always felt surprised, saying I liked whatever he gave me. But in reality, nothing suited me. He never even got the size right for the most basic clothes and shoes. Looking at the rows of items, remembering the scenes from that time, I realized he had been half-hearted with me as early as 3 years ago. I was stupid myself, falling into his traps over and over again. My proposal from Julian was a huge spectacle, and now our breakup is a big drama too. A week later, Father Joe, in a fit of anger, forced Julian to come and apologize to me, with a bundle of thorns tied to his back. He had just knelt down in front of me, before he could even speak, when Victoria smelled blood and came running. Uncle, how can you make Julian kneel? Victoria's eyes were red, wanting to help Julian up, but afraid of hurting him, at a loss for a moment. Seeing her so anxious she was almost crying, Julian's face showed panic, and he quickly stood up. Victoria, don't cry, I'm fine, it doesn't hurt. Knowing I was watching, he even gave me a provocative look, then protected Victoria with even more concern. This scene stung me indeed. But more than that, I felt disgusted. Victoria saw the blood streaming down his back, covered her mouth, and sobbed softly. Julian, are you stupid? How much must it hurt to carry such a big bundle of thorns? Are you trying to break my heart? After speaking, she glared at me fiercely. If you have a problem, come at me. I was the one who let you drink the mango juice. What does it have to do with Julian? Didn't you always say you loved him and had to marry him? Is this how you love him? If you don't love him, give him back to me. Are you satisfied that things have turned out like this? Hearing this, Father Joe's eyes darkened. Julian's expression didn't change at all. He just raised his hand, gently wiping the tears from the corner of her eyes. All right, stop talking nonsense all the time. How can she compare to you? Julian is like that. When he's affectionate, he holds you in the palm of his hand, not allowing anyone to say a single bad thing. When he's indifferent, he discards you like worn-out shoes, making you worse than a beggar on the street. Fortunately, my dignity doesn't need him to uphold. Of course I can't compare to her. I sneered. A gold-digging woman who seduces another's man and only has eyes for wealthy families. I admit I can't compare. Julian shielded her behind him. Shut up. What right do you have to say that about her? Julian, kneel down for me. Father Joe suddenly kicked. Julian staggered but didn't kneel. Uncle, aren't you finished yet? Why did you even give birth to him in the first place if you hate him so much? Don't think I don't know anything just because I have amnesia. You're just biased towards your younger son. Because he was born sickly, you've pampered him since he was a child. Julian was only born 5 minutes earlier, and was forced to give everything to him, even the person he likes. Slap. Miles walked in and slapped her across the face. Miles and Caleb hit it off and are very good friends. He was protective of his friends and couldn't stand anyone speaking ill of them. With that slap, Victoria's face instantly swelled up. Julian's eyes turned cold, and he charged forward with his fist raised. Fortunately, the bodyguards arrived in time, preventing a fight from breaking out. The atmosphere was tense. I threw back the covers and slowly got out of bed. Under Victoria's terrified gaze, I smiled faintly. Victoria, you haven't lost your memory, have you? Everyone present's pupils shrank, filled with disbelief. Mr. Joe was the first to react. That's impossible. We receive weekly reports from England. Victoria has severe depression. If her brain hadn't forcibly locked away her memories, she wouldn't be able to live a normal life. Julian pulled Victoria behind him, his gaze cold. What nonsense are you spouting? Hasn't Victoria suffered enough? If you hadn't run around back then, Caleb wouldn't have. How could Victoria have suffered like this? I knew Julian was an ingrate, but hearing him blame everything on me firsthand still made my heart ache. I had indeed blamed myself for Caleb's death for a long time, but the source of the chaos was ultimately Julian's baseness. 3 years ago, I accidentally discovered Julian's mental illness. On the day of Julian's brother's wedding, I found him asleep in the basement. On the wall opposite him was an entire wall of photos. It was Victoria, the bride. He harbored an almost perverse love for his own brother's wife. Just as I was about to leave, I saw Caleb standing in the doorway. His gaze was fixed on something behind me, and his pupils shrank. I wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Caleb had a congenital heart condition. In the end, he was overwhelmed with anger and died in that secret room on his wedding day. Caleb died, and Victoria went mad. Julian was confined to a mental hospital by his parents, losing his position as the heir to the Wright family. He became gloomy, irritable, and prone to self-harm as a result. He tried to suffocate himself with blankets and pillows several times. It was me who added a cot to his room, and watched him constantly. Once he felt safe, he stopped harming himself. But I could hear him crying almost every night. This once cheerful and sunny person now resembled an abandoned puppy. At the time, I genuinely felt sorry for him. Looking back, I was so stupid. I always thought of him as cheerful and sunny, forgetting that some people are good at using sunshine to hide the evil in their hearts. These 3 years were really a waste on a dog. As soon as the name Caleb came out, Victoria's pupils shrank, as if she were lost in memory. Caleb, Caleb. Who is he? Who is he? My head hurts so much, I can't remember. Julian Guangzhang di Balja Victoria. Victoria, Victoria, doctor, call a doctor quickly. Then he looked at me, his eyes devoid of any warmth. Audrey, if anything happens to Victoria, I will never forgive you in my life. I had expected this, so I didn't react much. More than anything, I found this dramatic scene amusing. I think you've probably forgotten. The Donovan family isn't just a business family. I am the only girl in the Donovan family's younger generation. My grandfather is a big figure, my grandmother is a big figure, even my eldest uncle is a big figure, and my older cousin happens to work at the same hospital as Victoria. Her attending physician and my older cousin are competing for the position of chief physician. Now my older cousin has successfully competed for the position, partly because he discovered that Victoria and her doctor were colluding to create fake medical records and evade responsibility. They were filled with disbelief after watching the video of Victoria's attending physician confessing. So they were fooled by Victoria. Fooled for a full 3 years. No, impossible, I didn't. Victoria covered her ears, still trying to feign madness. Who am I? Who is Caleb? My head hurts. Julian pursed his lips, still protecting Victoria behind him. This is all your one-sided story. It can't be fully believed. If the Donovan family was really that powerful, he would rather believe that I had bribed that doctor. Besides, he had never heard that I had an older cousin. The Donovan family is nouveau riche, and it seems like there's only me. Miles looked at him like he was an idiot. Regardless of whether Victoria is faking it or not, I don't think you're faking being stupid. It's only because Audrey's parents left early, otherwise you would have died 800 times over. And you still have the nerve to jump around here. Miles wanted to continue scolding, but I stopped him with a look. Julian, a person like that, is not worthy of mentioning my parents. Father Joe stared intently at the raving Victoria, his face so dark it seemed to drip ink. It's normal for the younger generation not to know, but people in the circle with even a little connection have investigated the Donovan family. But besides an Audrey, they can't find anything else. Even with Audrey, they can only find that she won awards in university, but the rest of her life is a blank. There was nothing left to understand. The Donovan family was mysteriously powerful, and Audrey had no reason to lie to them. Without the filter, Victoria was superficially crazy, but in reality, her eyes were shifty. The moment Victoria looked up, she caught Joe's father's gaze, and her heart skipped a beat. She quickly buried her head in Julian's arms. Joe's father trembled with anger, and he stepped forward and yanked Victoria away. What are you hiding from? You come out and explain yourself clearly. If she was truly trying to escape responsibility for Caleb's death, he would have accepted it. They could part ways amicably, and the Wright family would let her leave with dignity. But she actually dared to covet Julian. That was intolerable. What's more, she had deceived the Wright family for 3 whole years. Now, she was both feasting on the man-blood bun of Caleb and using amnesia as an excuse to approach Julian. The entire Wright family had been played by her. Joe's father was trembling with anger, his face so dark it looked like he was about to kill someone. Victoria was pulled with such force that she stumbled, her legs went weak, and she fell straight to the ground. Miles and I retreated to the side, quietly watching the show. If I could, I really wanted to ring for a nurse to bring a packet of sunflower seeds. Wah! I didn't want to either. Victoria knelt on the ground, crying hysterically. She hadn't slept well for a single day in recent years. What had she done wrong? She just wanted to marry into a wealthy family. If she hadn't pretended to be crazy, the Wright family would have surely pinned Caleb's death on her. How could she bear the responsibility for a life? Then why did you come back? Why did you still entangle yourself with Julian? Victoria's eyes were bloodshot, almost roaring. The one I originally liked was Julian. Caleb was the one who liked me, but you forced me to marry him. Could I resist? The Wright family has immense power. How could an ordinary family like mine resist? Joe's father felt disgusted, like he had eaten shit. How could she not resist? The Wright family wasn't some local emperor who could bestow marriages at will. It was clearly her who was maneuvering between the 2 brothers, pursuing Julian while also stringing Caleb along. Julian was moved beyond words and quickly picked her up, coaxing her carefully. Silly girl. Why are you only telling me this now? The 2 hugged and cried together, making us feel thoroughly disgusted. Miles and I both gave Joe's father sympathetic looks. He was so pitiful. This son was beyond saving. Exposing Victoria not only failed to stop Julian from being with her, but it even made them pour out their hearts to each other, and become even sweeter because of it. I regretted my choice back then once again. Being with someone like this was truly ruining my lifelong reputation. Miles was laughing so hard tears were almost coming out. Ha 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 ha, they even said you were a little green tea bitch. It's too funny. You don't even have the IQ for that. I threw a pillow at him, sneering. Laugh again, and I'll send you to Africa next month. Classic domineering CEO line. He instantly shut up. Everyone's a boss. If I can't afford to provoke them, I can still avoid them. Julian and Victoria got married. At the same time, he was completely abandoned by the Wright family. Rumor has it that Father Joe took the butler's child as his adopted son, and is now focusing all his efforts on cultivating him. Julian's personality has become increasingly gloomy. He had a major fight at the shareholders' meeting, completely losing the support of the shareholders. Miles told me all this as a joke. Tisk tsk, that kid is in such a miserable state. Are you sure you don't want to go and laugh at him? Besides, this is the Donovan family's annual gala, which only happens once every 5 years. You didn't go last time, so you should at least join the fun this time. You're the behind-the-scenes boss, the big boss that can't even be seen on TV. Wouldn't it be cool to make an appearance and put on a show? I twitched the corner of my mouth, wondering for the first time if I made a mistake in letting this guy manage the company. After all, which decent company president is such an idiot? In the end, I was still dragged to the annual gala by him. That certain idiot boasted to everyone he met. How did you know I brought our chairman here? Hey, it's not just my credit. It's also thanks to everyone's outstanding workability, which the chairman remembered. I navigated the crowd of big shots with ease, all the while wanting to send Miles to Africa. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Julian, radiating loneliness, staring blankly at me in a corner. He had never seen me like this. Like a young lady raised in an ancient family, dignified and polite, not at all timid. Victoria, who came with him, was raising her wine glass and trying to socialize everywhere, but was met with rejection everywhere. In the end, she secretly cursed at others for being arrogant, self-important, and unappreciative. He remembered when he was first sent to the mental hospital. His father's attitude made the doctors treat him poorly. At first, they even put him in a room with a man suffering from mania. He was beaten half to death in less than half a month. If it hadn't been for Audrey's appearance, he would probably have been beaten to death long ago. At that time, she was like this now, confidently and proudly talking to the doctors about something. In the end, the doctor personally apologized to him and moved him into a single room. At that time, she was backlit, descending to him like a fairy, saying she would save him from the water and fire. And now, it seems like he's lost this fairy. At the gala, Father Joe brought his adopted son to introduce him to me. He was no stranger. Spencer had always been following Caleb as his assistant. Long time no see, Miss. Audrey, you're as outstanding as ever. I smiled. No wonder Caleb valued you so much back then. Your ability is indeed very strong. Having Wright Corporation secure a major project in just 2 months after taking office, it must be said that Spencer's abilities are indeed excellent. Spencer's eyes were a little melancholy. It's just a pity about Caleb. It feels like the days when we street danced together were just yesterday. I was stunned. Caleb street dance? Spencer smiled. It's unbelievable, right? Everyone thought of him as a porcelain doll. Who would have thought he could do something so rebellious? That day at the school festival, the person on stage was. It was him. Spencer's eyes were full of smiles. He said that youth only happens once, and he had to leave something behind, but he was afraid of being recognized, so he wore a mask. Fortunately, the effect was good. The audience below was screaming the whole time. He was overjoyed. Seeing that I was stunned, Spencer reached out and waved his hand in front of my eyes. Miss Audrey, what's wrong? I came back to my senses, shaking my head with a bitter smile. No wonder Julian said he didn't like breakdancing, considering it low class. Let me tell you something even funnier. Every year at the masquerade ball, he's the one who cosplays Ultraman. Ha 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 ha, he's really childish, right? I nodded bitterly. He is indeed a very interesting person. Perhaps Julian and Caleb were just too different. It was easy to forget they were twins. I was too immersed in the lab, oblivious to the world, and hadn't tried to understand. I subconsciously assumed that Caleb, with his poor health, would be introverted, while the healthy Julian would be lively and generous. It turns out I was wrong from the start. Completely wrong. Audrey, you left me for this kind of garbage? Julian walked over, his face not looking too good. Spencer raised his glass to him. Big brother. Shut up, who's your brother? Spencer didn't argue with him, just stood in front of me. What's this, big brother? Coming to win, Miss Audrey back. Julian pursed his lips, saying nothing. He did have that idea. In the months after marrying Victoria, he kept thinking about Audrey. Victoria knew his cards had been suspended and still kept asking him for money to buy bags. Unlike Audrey, she never asked for gifts and always gave him surprises. He asked Victoria to get a job, but she burst into tears, saying no socialite would ever work. Audrey, on the other hand, worked late every day and took good care of him in all aspects of life. Without her, his life was worse than when he was in the mental hospital. Victoria was always throwing tantrums, saying the wedding was rushed and she had been wronged. If he wasn't good to her, he was heartless. But Audrey considered his feelings and said if he didn't like elaborate ceremonies, they could just travel for their wedding. I could tell what Julian was thinking at a glance. I wasn't surprised that someone like him's life had turned out like this. I thought I would be happy, have a sense of triumphant revenge. But actually I didn't. It didn't even cause a ripple. Maybe this is what it means to really not care anymore. He's no different from dust on the ground in my eyes now. Spencer naturally left, leaving Julian behind. What do you want from me? Julian's eyes darted around. I'm sorry. After the apology, he seemed visibly relaxed and smiled bitterly. I was blind and chose wrong. He really regretted it so much his guts were turning green. Julian looked deeply at me, took out a gift box from his pocket, and opened it to reveal a sapphire necklace. Audrey, can you forgive me? Let's go back to how we were before. This time I'll be the one to propose. He was a little excited, his eyes growing brighter. I was so startled I almost knocked the gift box over. No way, never. Julian was stunned for a moment, closed the gift box, and his figure became more desolate. I took a deep breath. at a loss for words. Julian, who are you putting on this act for? Almost everyone in the industry knows I don't like sapphires. I think sapphires are restrained and mysterious, not as sunny and gentle as rubies. I pointed to a gift carried by a waiter on the side. See that? Even a partner I'm meeting for the first time is giving me ruby jade. Victoria likes sapphires. Almost all her jewelry is blue. And Julian gave me a sapphire brooch last year. The quality was very poor. I could tell at a glance it was bought online for a few $dozen. At the time I was all smiles, thinking he really loved me and would even think of buying me gifts when browsing street stalls. Julian's face changed drastically, probably thinking of someone else who liked blue, and he staggered a little. He knew that forget going back to the way things were. If he persisted, I would probably just turn hostile and make it impossible for him to stay in this city. After the annual meeting, my world was a lot quieter. That's right, I sent Miles, who loved watching the drama, to Africa. Helping poor countries with construction. What a great contribution. Miles roared in the video. Do you even want this contribution? I hung up the video. Time for you to go to work. This flourishing age is as I wished. Extra chapter. I think I'm really going to lose Audrey. The thought popped into my head and startled me. No, impossible. Audrey loves me so much. But she threw away the ring. She threw away the ring I carefully placed on her bedside table. It was something she personally designed, personally polished and set. And she just so lightly threw it away. She said, "Now you can openly be with Victoria." Trash goes with the trash can, a perfect match. I was so angry I vomited blood, and threw the ring into the trash can too. Audrey, you better not regret it. She didn't regret it, but I regretted it the moment I threw it. So when my father asked me to apologize to Audrey, even though I felt like I couldn't bring myself to do it, I still agreed. Audrey is soft-hearted. She'll definitely forgive me when she sees how miserable I am. But the moment I knelt down, Victoria ran over. I didn't expect her to care about me so much. She even dared to stand up to my father to protect me. I was indeed incredibly moved, thinking older women are the best. They know how to care for a person more than young girls. I looked at Audrey provocatively, and seeing the hurt in her eyes, I felt a surge of satisfaction. See, that's what you get for not cherishing me. There are plenty of people who will dote on me. What, Victoria isn't faking her amnesia? The Donovan family is so mysterious. They could even find out Victoria was pretending to be mentally ill. I was utterly shocked. Audrey is really amazing. With her, what more could I ask for? Actually, Victoria didn't do anything wrong. She was just too weak and had to pretend to be crazy to escape responsibility. It's all Audrey's fault. If it weren't for her, my scandals from back then wouldn't have been exposed, and that sickly Caleb wouldn't have died. Victoria is right, it's all Audrey's fault. But her family is powerful. Oh well, I can't say anything. At most, I'll just keep Victoria on the side. I'll balance things well between her and my wife. Audrey is naive. She won't find out. It's probably because I spoiled her too much. Audrey really isn't talking to me anymore. I'm going to marry Victoria, and see if that makes her jealous. But I can't even get into the Donovan residence. I can't even send out the invitations. I stared blankly as she got on the private elevator with a group of big shots. Unable to come back to my senses for a long time. She looks so beautiful when she's serious. It's different from when she's with me. That kind of beauty from the inside out, confident. Every move she makes is attractive, but she hasn't given me a single glance. At this moment, I realized that without the right family, I'm not even as good as the security guard at the entrance. I still married Victoria. I can't sell the real estate, and apart from the villa, I can't even afford a decent wedding. Victoria complains all day long about how perfunctory the wedding was, saying she can't even hold her head up in front of the rich wives, and has suffered all kinds of humiliation. I'm annoyed. Audrey would never be like this. Victoria wants to buy designer bags again. Does she even know that my cards have been frozen? I'm just an insignificant employee at Wright Corporation now. How can I afford it? There's a boss at the company who doesn't care about my background, who scolds me every day. And at home there's a tiger wife who doesn't understand how hard I work and complains every day. How did I really end up living like this? After thinking about it all night, I think I understand. It started the day I was jealous of Caleb. Jealous that his girlfriend pursued me but wasn't serious. and was going to marry him. Those photos were all found on Victoria's social media accounts. The nude ones were all photoshopped. I don't have any weird obsession with my sister-in-law. I just couldn't stand seeing Caleb happy. I just wanted to make him angry. After all, ever since we were little, he took advantage of his poor health and took all the love from our parents. We were twins, I was healthier, I was supposed to be the heir to the right corporation. But my parents gave me all the strictness and him all the love. When I was desperately doing homework, he was outside catching butterflies. When I was studying boring finance, he was shopping and eating with mom. When I was struggling with my thesis, he was dating Victoria. What was even more infuriating was that the university I worked so hard to get into, he didn't even try, but his score was 10 points higher than mine. Who could stand that? I broke down on the spot. But mom and dad couldn't see it. They were celebrating Caleb's success, without even looking at me. Now that he's dead, I still can't compare to him. My father said that if I insisted on being with Victoria, he would take back my shares in Wright Corporation and kick me out of the Wright family forever. I refused to accept it, and really married Victoria. I thought I had won, marrying his wife, and I was the only heir to the Wright family. But I never expected his assistant to become the new heir to the Wright family. I wanted to go find him, wanted to make a scene. But my father said if I behaved he would give me an invitation to the Donovan family's annual meeting. I compromised. I thought, if I could beg Audrey for forgiveness, with her power in the Donovan family, it wouldn't be difficult for me to inherit the Wright Corporation. Then I'd still win. I spent all my savings to buy Audrey a gift. I remembered that I gave her a similar brooch last year. She liked the cheap one. She'll definitely like the expensive one even more. But I didn't expect her to reject it directly. She said she didn't like sapphires. She said even business partners she met for the first time knew her preferences. At that moment my face turned ashen. I can't win back Audrey, and I can't win against Caleb. My life is a mess. I've wasted a good hand. My life has completely come to an end.